Hey trappers, Dale Billingsley here, Billingsley Brand Lures. So I want to talk to y'all a little bit, and I've kind of been asked to do this too. Talk to you about maximizing the profits from the animals that we catch. And I mean more than just the fur sales. The fur sale is where it starts. But after we've got the fur off of that animal, after we've skinned it, now we start seeing the actual products that we can sell. That every bit of that animal is sellable. I mean, literally every bit of it. Except, of course, there might be some where the meat's not sellable, but it's still usable. Okay, it's usable off in other products. So let's kind of go over a few of the major animals that are trapped, and I'll kind of explain what I do and how I use them. First off is skunks. Skunks are probably one of the most valuable animals that you can catch right now. I mean, as far as the fur market, their skunk fur is very, very sought after, especially the good ones with the wide white stripes on them. The ones with the yellow tinge on them are a little harder to move in the fur trade and in the craft end of it. But you can still move those to guys that are tying flies and jigs for fishing. You know, skunk fur, when it hits the water, it doesn't glob up together like marabou and some of the other fur does. When it hits the water, it spreads out. And it's very, very sought after by fly tyers and guys that are tying musky jigs and that kind of stuff. But once we get the fur off of it, now we've still got the carcass and the fat and the bones and the skull and the feet and the essence, of course. You need to contact whoever you're selling the essence to and ask them how they want it prepared. Like myself personally, I prefer just hold the bags over a jar and cut it, squeeze all the essence and the mustard right off into the jar. But a lot of other lure makers don't want the mustard in with theirs. They want it clean and filtered and so on. But, you know, so contact whoever you're going to sell it to and see how they want it. Then you have the empty pods. Okay? Guys will buy those as well. Then you have the fat off of the hide, which is a different grade of fat. That stuff, you know, that lure makers use that quite a bit, lure and bait makers. Plus, it's also good for having around to lube up, you know, hinges and guns and whatever else you might want to put it on. It's pretty good stuff. Same way with raccoon fat. But then you have the fat off of the body of the skunk. Okay, and that is a completely different grade. That is, you want to pull all the fat off you can that doesn't have any meat membrane in it. That stuff is medicinal. They use it making lip balm and hand cream and stuff like that. That stuff, when you render it out, it comes out an amber red color. And when it's that amber red, that's medicinal. And that's worth very valuable. It's, I don't know, probably close to $100 a gallon, you know. So, and then like I said, you've got the skull. Then if you trim all the meat off and sell it to a bait or lure maker, then you've got it as well. Then you've got the bones. And the bones can be sold to people who are making crafts, who are making jewelry, who are making earrings, that kind of thing. So every part of that skunk is saleable. Then you also have the innards, you know, the viscera, the guts. Now what you can do with it, you know, out of every animal, what you can do with those is build yourself a little bunker if you have room, a place to put some green sawdust in out from a sawmill. And the rough cut works better than the fine cut. I'll let you know that right off the bat. But make yourself a compost pile to put on your garden, to put around your trees, to put around your plants in your flower bed, just wherever, whatever. And you've got this very high fertilized mulch to put down. So as you see, every bit of that animal is sellable. Moving on to the raccoon, you've got the fur, of course, and like I said earlier, you've got the fat. If you want to take time to save it, keep it clean and render it down. Makes very good lard. People cooked with it back in the day, and we can still cook with it today if we choose to. Make candles with it. You make soap with it. An animal-based soap. There's all kinds of things you can do with that fat. But then you've got the carcass, which is it's sellable. The carcass market is kind of dying in the South. As the older ones die off, the younger ones don't really want anything to do with it. But there is still a little market for the carcass. But if you can't find a carcass market, again, take the meat off the bone, throw it into the compost pile, render off clean up the bones, and you've got the bones to sell. You've got the skull to sell. You've got the feet. If you can find professors or high school biology teachers that are looking for hearts, lungs, livers, those kind of things as wet specimens to use as teaching tools, there's a market there as well. Anything and everything is sellable if you hunt out the markets to do it with. Fox and coyote, again, you've got the hide, the glands, and the only glands to me that are worth saving, and the only glands that I buy are the anal glands and the bladders. But the difference with me when I cut them myself or when I go to buy them is I'll allow as much hair around that anus, around that anal gland, as you can bring with it. I don't make anybody trim it off. That's another thing too. I want to back up just a minute. Sorry about that. On the raccoon, on the big boar coon, and now they don't want the sows, but they want the big boar coon. They want the anal glands, and just an inch or maybe an inch and a half of the gut can come with it. But that is very, very valuable, very sellable. They use it to make, and they just want the big boars. I'm talking the ones that have, silver dollar sized anuses. Trim as much fat off of them as you can. Just make sure you leave the gland. They make raccoon eviction fluid with it. Or if you get a coon in your attic and she has kittens up there, they can come in, and smear it around, and she'll take those kittens and go off somewhere else. She'll move out, wherever she's at. So anyway, back to the fox and the coyotes. I'll buy them with all the hair around them that I can get. That hair holds a lot of odor. A lot of lure makers don't want all that hair. I do. So again, contact a lure maker that you're going to sell them to, see how they want them, and see what they're paying for them or what they're allowing on trade. A lot of times you're better off to trade for baits and lures or other trapping supplies than you are to sell them outright. You'll get a lot better deal on them. So that's something you want to keep in mind. If you want to save some money on next year's baits, lures, supplies, save those glands, guys, and sell them or trade them to your lure and bait makers. And a lot of times you'll come out way further ahead than them having to buy them outright cash. Bobcats are the same way. You've got the skulls, you've got the meat, you've got the feet, the toenails, the fur, the glands. The meat can be sold as human consumption if you find some people that like to eat it, or you can save it and sell it or trade it to a bait and lure maker as well. They will buy them. There's not one part of that animal that isn't usable. And in today's society and in today's economy and the fur market where it is, it pays you to use every bit of that animal and sell every bit of that animal or trade every bit of it that you possibly can. So, anyway, there's some ideas for you for this coming season to maximize your profits. I hope it's been helpful to you. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. If you would, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe, share this video, leave me a comment. It does actually help my channel a lot, and I greatly appreciate it. Until next time, this is Dale Billingsley with another one, signing out.